Hi there, my name is Brooks with Character Design Forge. Video games have only been around for the last 40 years or so, and they've almost always had an amount of technical limitations. Now, only in the last few years we've had games that have just exploded with photorealism and what's possible as far as resolution, but otherwise, we've almost always had a lot left to our imagination when it comes to video games. A lot of times in game design, we talk about immersion, and immersion is made up of a lot of different components, but part of it is how much you can believe you're in a game or understand a game world and how fleshed out it is. A lot of times the actual characters in a game are rather simplified, and this might be an inescapable choice, like with 8 or 16-bit graphics. Maybe it's an intentional choice, like a game that's designed to run on slower machines, or it might be an intentional design choice. There's a lot of pixel art games that have been created recently and low-poly 3D modeled games. In these cases, the characters in our games are leaving a lot up to our player's imagination. Looking at Mario on his own, just the sprite of him, we formulate our idea of this little man running and jumping, but seeing artwork from box art or promotional art, we're able to project almost a higher resolution, if you will, or more fully realized idea of this character into a game that's really just made up of tiny squares. I'll be talking a little bit more about this idea in my next video about how character design is the art of inception. But we want to do this. We want to provide the player with a larger-than-life idea of a character that they can then bring into the game. They can bring that idea that they've seen from other artwork into the game. Now this does a few things. It gets them excited about playing the game, it gives them a better idea of who the character is, even if they're only 6 pixels tall, and from a business standpoint, if this artwork that we're creating is on the cover of the game or part of promotional art, it's actually a much more exciting way to sell the game. So I thought that we could reverse engineer this tiny pixel art character that I've created here and talk about how to make game characters larger than life in this supplementary artwork and why that's important. What I thought I'd do is start with a 12 by 12 sprite for the sake of this video and use that as the template for a larger resolution character. In order to take advantage of the opportunity to make supplementary art larger than life, we need to figure out what we can do in our illustration that we can't with this pixel art. I made this little dinosaur sprite wearing a red bandana in the app Sprite, and then you'll see me start drawing in Procreate. The first thing that we can do is use round shapes and curved lines. Obviously, our pixel art is going to be made up of squares, which means until a certain resolution it will have these sharp edges. So the first thing I do is create some round shapes that seem to match the flow of this little dinosaur sprite. The next thing is dynamic posing and dynamic action. The amount of things you can make this sprite do is limited, but we're able to make an exciting and action-packed pose for our character. At this point I'm attempting to make the art that might go on the cover of this character's game, and it's all just for fun, it's just for the purpose of this video. It's not an actual game that I'm making, but what I'm doing is striking a cool line of action for the character, something that you might not be able to do with this pixel art. The next thing is detail, so not only things like the teeth and spirals on the knees here, but you could also add a lot of texture to materials on the character. I'm also taking advantage of light and value to shade the character and make it look like it's made up of forms. The last thing that you can consider among plenty of other things that may come up in upscaling a character is perspective. That's what I ended up doing here in the pose that I went with. And since our pixel art character is either going to be on a flat plane or an isometric view, I thought I'd change things up and have him dropping down, almost like you're looking up at him. Overall, we've stayed faithful to our sprite, but embellished in our cover art, and now looking at this version of the dinosaur, a player might project that on the much lower resolution sprite. I hope that this was a helpful exploration of the supplementary artwork that goes along with game characters and how that can contribute to the overall experience of a game. I'm actually excited to announce my first big update to my course, Learn Character Design, and this is almost like a mini course that's available standalone from Learn Character Design. This is called Designing Game Characters. And so as that name implies, if you've been interested in what we talk about here on this channel about game characters, this is going to go specifically and thoroughly into designing characters for video games. Now, you'll actually be able to get this course standalone by itself, but existing Learn Character Design students are going to be receiving it completely for free. So if you head to learncharacterdesign.com, you can become a student and catch up with what's already available in Learn Character Design, or you could sign up to be notified when designing game characters becomes available. I'm really excited about that. It should be in the next few months, and I'm really excited for you to see it. That's it for me today. I'm making new videos every week at Character Design Forge. Subscribing on YouTube lets you know when new videos are made available. Thank you for watching, and have fun creating.